I've asked Mike Taz to come on the program because Mike Taz is an absolute example of I can take care of myself, or I will take control of my life. He did that with the help of Robert Redfern, but sort of just with information that he started on from a friend. Mike Taz is an incredible individual, has his own website now. He's been an inspiration to me many, many times over, and I hope you go to his website. I'll let him give you all the details on his website. But Mike Taz, I'm going to let him tell you his story, is a miracle, an absolute miracle. Mike, thank you for joining us in the Power Hour today.
Joyce, good morning.
It's so good to hear your voice. Again. Yeah, it's good to hear your voice again. It's been so long since we've talked.
August 2007 on air.
August 2007. You know when it was, huh?
Yep.
You're better than I am. Yeah, I'm so sorry that we don't have Robert on the air today because he is a wealth of information, absolute wealth of information. But, well, that's okay. We'll have him back on next week.
His apologies, by the way.
Yes, I appreciate it.
I have spoken to him this morning.
Okay. Well, we'll have him back on next week then, hopefully. Let's talk about your story, though. The Mike Taz story is a story that everyone needs to hear, and yet it's only being heard by the people with ears to hear. You know, this ought to be something that's on CNN. It ought to be on something that's on Fox News, on the BBC, but you're not hearing it. You are here today, though. Mike, your story, sort of the Reader's Digest version of your story.
I have a feeling, Joyce, you know, the mainstream network would probably be scared of it, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree.
My story started, really, I suppose, from birth. I was born with cerebral palsy, and I've still got that, and always will have. But over the years, I was given more and more prescription medication. And the more prescription medication I got, the sicker I got, the weaker I got, the less able I was to do anything. My eyesight, for example, was always bad, but the more medication I got, the worse it got. Until in December of 2005, I was taking 14 prescription medications every day.
Wow. How many pills was that? 14 prescriptions. How many pills was that?
I think around about 20, 25, something like that.
Oh, my God. Okay.
But 14 medications. And basically just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I found out later, but not at that time, that two groups of my friends were independently of each other planning my funeral. And hadn't bothered to tell me about it, but were doing it anyway.
But that's not as a mean thing that they were doing that, though,
oh, no,
correct?
They were doing it because they thought, bluntly, it needed to be done. And
in other words, you were that sick.
Absolutely. And in December of 2005, one of my friends came to visit me, and she had arthritis. I don't have arthritis, but she did. And she'd heard about Serrapeptase, or Serrapeptase, same thing, different name, from a local pharmacist who is also interested in natural remedies. And she'd asked me to help her look up some more information on the internet because she wasn't particularly good at doing that. So I did. Now, with her help and her eyesight more than anything, I was able to read some of the information that Robert had already published. And among the information that I found were clips from Robert's previous interviews with you. In other words, clips from the Power Hour. Now, for me, that was a gift because it meant I could find the information without reading it. And as a result of listening to those recordings and reading the little bit that I could read and could get other people to read to me, my friend actually went out and purchased some Serrapeptase and gave it to me as a gift.
Wow.
In January of 2006. I took it for the first time on January the 3rd, 2006. At this time, I was still on all my medication because I thought, like most people probably do, that the medical profession know what they're doing and I need the stuff.
Now, give us an idea of your condition. You were wheelchair-bound at the time, correct?
I was wheelchair-bound. I still use a wheelchair most of the time, but now I have an option to walk on crutches for short distances if I want to, which means that I can get to places where the wheelchair won't go, for example. So it just opens life up.
And How was your eyesight at the time?
My eyesight was variable. It changed depending on how else I felt, what else was going on at the time, but it was always bad. And at its worst, I could sit in my home and not see the walls of my own house.
Oh.
I can now read a telephone book without glasses.
That is incredible. Now, listeners, this came about because of the use of Serrapeptase. Serrazyme. That is the first thing that he tried. And how many were you taking a day? Do you recall?
When I first started, I was taking 3 times 3 a day. In other words, 3 just before each meal. I now take 2 3 times a day, so I've dropped it by 1 per dose. I could probably drop it a little more, but I actually don't like to do that because it's working. Why would I change it? And because it's a food supplement, it's not doing anything in terms of side effects. I think most of the problem I had with the medication I was on was side effects, really, from that medication. And by February of 2006, the end of February 2006, so about 6 weeks, under medical supervision, and that's very important, under medical supervision, I had come off all my prescription medication, and I have never gone back on it since.
Wow.
So
that's
from
incredible.
Somebody planning my funeral in December of 2005, I am now medication-free. I am able to go to a regular public gym 3 times a week. Now, because of my disability, I do need some supervision for safety reasons, and I do need some help to get on and off some of the machines, but I can use a public gym.
So that's amazing. Now, I don't think the listeners understand, unless they know cerebral palsy, and unless they understand that people don't normally improve in any way, their symptoms or conditions or whatever, they only deteriorate over time, and yet you are now improving and making a major difference in your life.
Absolutely. If you want to know what cerebral palsy feels like in physical terms, remember that it affects everybody slightly differently because there are different forms of it. But the form I have, which is spastic diplegia, it feels like basically having cramp in every muscle that you know about and several that you probably don't know about 24 hours a day for life.
I mean, you actually feel cramping and pain all the
Absolutely.
time.
Now, sometimes it's worse than others. Again, if you're tired or have some other illness at the same time, like if you get an infection or something like that, it will get worse. So it's not always as painful as it is at other times, but it is always at least uncomfortable.
So as a result of using Serrazyme, what was the first thing that you began to notice?
Well, the first thing that happened was that my lungs cleared. My lung condition prior to Serrapeptase was so bad that I was taking 2 inhalers, basically asthma treatments, although I've since found out that I didn't have asthma. 2 inhalers and a nebulizer every single day. And within within 48 hours, should we say, so very, very quick, my lungs started to clear. It took probably about 8 or 10 days for them to clear completely.
8 or 10 days. Now, see, cerebral palsy, part of the problem is that you get a lot of lung congestion, and I'm not quite sure the reason why, but you do, and it's a very difficult problem when you can't breathe, and they have to use inhalers to accentuate that or to help that, even though they don't have asthma. But in 2 days, you began to notice a difference, and then in how many days you said it began to clear?
It began to clear within 48 hours, but it was completely clear within about 8 or 10 days.
That's amazing.
Now, the thing to remember is that I think the reason that the lungs get so full of rubbish, basically, is simply that, being less mobile than average, any rubbish that ends up in the lungs from an infection, for example, is more difficult to clear, and the longer it stays there, the worse it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a direct result of the cerebral palsy, which after all is a neurological condition. But I think it's an effect of it because of the lack of mobility.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
So
now
they give you the nebulizers and things to treat the symptoms rather than the cause.
Right, exactly. But it is so incredible to think that in a week or less than 2 weeks, you had a total change, though, in your lungs and in your breathing. That is just so unbelievable that anything can do that, let alone something that is a natural item that has no side effects to it. And what did Robert say, or how did Robert explain the effectiveness of the serrapeptase on your lungs, just your lungs alone? Do you know?
Basically, serrapeptase is an anti-inflammatory. So by getting rid of the inflammatory process, which in turn causes the build-up of fluids and things, basically you get rid of the process that causes the problem. So you're not dealing with the symptoms, which is what the medical profession do. You're dealing with the cause, which is the inflammation.
Mm-hmm. So after you noticed the change in your lungs, what was the next thing that you began to notice?
Well, the next thing, because I think I was getting more oxygen, I was clearly getting more oxygen, the pain disappeared. So I still have the tight muscles, the spasms that come from cerebral palsy, and I probably always will have. Mm-hmm. Robert doesn't like me to say that because he always says, well, you know, you didn't expect what happened to you. How do you know what's going to happen next? And he's right. Mm-hmm. But based on what I know so far, I will probably always have tight muscles. What I don't have anymore is pain.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
My movement is restricted, but the movement that I do have is useful and pain-free. Remember when I first took serrapeptase, we're talking about January 2006, and it's now August 2009. I've been pain-free all of that time.
That's incredible. That is absolutely
And the way that
incredible.
things are going, I expect to stay that way.
You know, this is truly a miracle in what's happened in your life. Have there been other cerebral palsy individuals that you've been able to share this with?
Well, there's one who is another Power Hour listener who I know has been following my story, a lady from Missouri called Jennifer.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Has been following my story. Mm-hmm. But she has always been more mobile than I was anyway. So the results that she's getting will not be the same as mine.
She's a dancer also, isn't she?
Yeah, I know, but I know she is following what I'm doing.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. I hope she's had some positive results also. Well, let's, I can't even imagine, though, the effect that has had on your life. What did your family and friends say, especially the ones who are planning your funeral? They must have been a little bit surprised.
The ones who were planning my funeral, for a start, they had to tell me they were doing it. But they chose not to do that until they saw I was getting better, which was kind of them. They have been, on the whole, probably more surprised than I have, because they haven't seen the process that's gone into finding the information and learning it and making the decision basically to move away from the medical system. Mm-hmm. They've simply seen the result, the effect of all of this. So to them it's probably been more of a shock. But for some of them, the biggest shock hasn't been my lungs, because my lungs weren't always bad. They got bad the more medication I took.
We're talking to Mike Toss today, who had a miraculous change in his condition, and he dropped, how many pills were you able to get rid of, Mike?
14 prescription medications. I would actually have to go back and work it out to get the exact number, but I think it was around about 20 individual tablets.
But you're not taking any of those prescriptions any longer?
I'm taking precisely nothing.
That's amazing.
To keep things topical, the medical profession lost their right to poison me in February 2006. I will not be taking the swine flu vaccine.
Ooh. Are people in the UK, because I know you live in the UK, are people saying not no but heck no to the swine flu or vaccine, or are they considering taking it?
They're not so much, because we have what we think of as a free healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
You know something about that with what President Obama's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually have a free healthcare system already. So we are fairly well conditioned on the whole to do what the doctors tell us to do because they know best. I mean, for example, there is absolutely no medical treatment for cerebral palsy at all. There are treatments for symptoms, things like physiotherapy. There are treatments for postural problems such as surgery. But there is no treatment for brain damage or the brain damage that causes cerebral palsy that the medical profession can come up with. And yet still, I ended up on 14 prescriptions.
Mm.
So that tells you something about how the British system works. But they will not be giving me the swine flu.
I'm so thrilled to hear that. I am so thrilled to hear
and
that.
In fact, my family doctor now doesn't even offer me the regular flu shot because she knows perfectly well I will not take it.
Well, that's good. Well, we are so thrilled for you. And you write an update periodically so people can follow your case and your scenario, and that it has been really the Serrapeptase. Now, you added a couple of other things, didn't you, to your protocol?
I added curcumin, which is another of Good Health Naturally's products that I think the Para carries.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think it was at that time that my eyesight really began to improve, which was November of 2006. So 2006 was the big year when all the major changes happened. What's happened since then has been basically improvements, but the big changes happened in 2006 and 2007. The other big thing, and the thing you were asking about my friends' responses to all of this, the big response that most of them came up with was surprise when my heart condition settled down. Again, because of all the medication I was on, I was regularly getting a resting heart rate, a sinus tachycardia for those who understand the medical term. Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very fast heart rate, over about 100 and sometimes.
Well, mine was regularly hitting 200 and staying there.
Whoa! Oh, my goodness.
And I was on a series of medications to deal with that, including calcium channel blockers. And perhaps you can tell the listeners what that means. Well, but they're not nice, let's put it that way.
That's right. There's a lot of side effects with calcium channel blockers. But, I mean, your heart rate was over 200, and you're not taking a calcium channel blocker any longer?
It wasn't continuously there. It would hit 200 and stay there for sometimes a few seconds, sometimes a few hours.
We got some good news here because Robert Redfern was able to get into us. We're able to make contact with him, so he will be here for this hour, hopefully. Before I bring Robert Redfern on, Connie in Iowa. Let me go to Connie in Iowa. Connie, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is so good to speak to you.
Thank you.
When I was 27, and I am 67 now, I lost my eyesight, my central vision, to macular degeneration in both eyes for no reason.
Ooh.
And I am so interested in hearing what this man is saying because I've been legally blind since then. Well, I had ordered is it called Tenacious Earth? The fossil flower, the flower.
Yeah, the fossil shell flower,
I have been using that. I have Crohn's. You know what, the Lord, let's say I had Crohn's.
Really?
And I have been using that, and it really, I cannot tell you what it is doing, but I feel so much better since I have been using it.
Is that right? For Crohn's disease. Now, I am shocked because, I mean, I'm not shocked, but you don't normally get better from Crohn's disease, do you?
No. Crohn's is very destructive to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And the diarrhea is so bad, and the pain. But
now, how much are you taking a day? Tell me how much you're taking a day.
I'm taking a tablespoon in the morning.
Okay. A tablespoon in the morning.
And about a cup of water.
And that's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's awesome. We're going to go back to our subject at hand, which is with Robert Redfern, and that is the HealthPoint machine and getting better on your own without needing a doctor. Because Why? Because there may not be a doctor there someday. Robert Redfern has been with the Power Hour for many, many years and supported us and brought us some of the very best items, including the Serrazyme that Mike Taz is talking about. And Mike is on the line. We'll leave him there and come back to Mike Taz in just a second and his story, because I want Robert Redfern to give you his take on his story. Robert Redfern lives in the UK or Spain or wherever he happens to be at the time, and he joins us today. And you know, Robert, I want to welcome you to the Power Hour. Thank you so very much.
My great pleasure, and am I glad I'm here as well.
Oh, yeah.
that was an hour of sweating getting the internet back up.
Oh, bless your heart, bless your heart. You know, normally in the United States, I don't know about the UK, they have a warm-up person that comes out before, you know, the real star comes on. They have a warm-up person.
And I feel absolutely that I've just had the best warm-up guy on the block. I really mean that, honestly. Just because I was actually listening to the program, you know, for a while, and I was listening, waiting for the top of the hour coming because I knew that would be a logical time to come back on. And Mike doesn't. Well, I mean, I tell him, but he still doesn't realise. He's so matter of fact about his miracles, but he is an inspiration to me, and. You know, even though I get inspired every day by people from their horses getting better to their children getting better to their Crohn's getting better to their eyesight getting better, Mike's getting better is beyond all that. He's getting more than better. He told you it's his birthday last week, did he?
Oh, no, he didn't mention that. Well,
everybody, one big happy birthday to Mike Taz, 40 years, and he didn't think he would be here 4 years ago.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. Mike, let's bring him on then and say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're very happy that you made it to 40, and I bet all your friends who've been having to keep those plans on hold for your funeral are probably wondering what's going on, aren't they?
They are certainly surprised.
Yes. Well, let me go back to Robert, because, Robert, we've had one lady here who's called in and definitely wants the information on macular degeneration. We are talking about Serrapeptase and Serrazyme, which Mike is taking, and I'm going to get to the macular degeneration a little bit later when we talk about the HealthPoint. But tell us what it is that you think has created this miracle in Mike, and I do believe it's a miracle, only you think it's probably just writing what was needed to be righted in the first place.
Well, the first thing that really started to change his life, and really, really fast, was Serrazyme. Nothing works as fast as Serrazyme for the most of the condition. And because he was getting such a dramatic reversal of all his problems, that, if you like, energized him. It gave him huge inspiration, because then I came along to see him when I went down and started to talk about doing other things, such as curcumin and maxifocus and a few other things we've got him on. And he was there because he'd seen such a great reversal of all his problems. But the big deal is that he's got off the drugs. And the sooner everybody gets off drugs, the sooner everybody starts eating God-made food as opposed to man-made food. If it literally came out of a packet or whatever, you've got to be suspect with it, actually. You know, eat fresh, living foods all the time.
That's right. And, you know, we've had so many fresh vegetables here and fruits recently. I was thinking about this morning because I was having some tomatoes a while ago that Denny brought me in. They're smaller tomatoes, and they're absolutely outstanding. And I was thinking, I have not had any cooked food probably in over a week. I can't even remember the last time I had any cooked food because we've had so many vegetables from the garden that I like to either juice or eat raw. And most people don't know the joy of eating raw or eating fruits and vegetables.
Well, I know you've taken it on board, actually, and I know that, you know, when you get your new website up and much more interactive, then a whole bunch of things can start to happen. You can start to throw your recipes, because she's got some great recipes, guys. When I go and eat there, it is gorgeous food that is served up. So
thank you.
When you get your interactive website, and people can start to bring their own recipes in, and you can throw yours up, and everybody can start to jive all day long and every day. Not just, you know, for the 3 hours of the Power Hour. The Power Hour is too powerful to be compressed into 3 hours. It needs to be 24 hours, actually.
Well, I like that idea, but I appreciate that very much, because we do have a unique group of people here who are doing unique things, and they call in and share it, and that's what's the best part of it. All right, well, let me move to the question, though, back to the question of what happened with Mike Taz. You said it was Serrazyme. What is it in Serrazyme? What was Serrazyme doing to his body?
Well, to begin with, we have to know what was wrong with Mike. Mike was having a huge amount of chronic inflammation. It started off with part of his problem, which is his muscles firing and causing all sorts of contractions to take place. That caused inflammation. That caused problems. Then they gave him drugs to deal with this, but of course the drugs don't really fix it whatsoever. And then he was giving drugs on top of the drugs, and the drugs were affecting his lungs, his heart. And along comes Serrapeptase and literally put the fire out. I mean, it's like having a whole fire brigade, all the engines coming to put the fire out in one go. And that's what happened with Mike. I mean, it wasn't just a slow process, and one day you may start to feel an improvement. Mike was feeling the improvement virtually from the very first day, and every day it got out. Because the fire engines were putting the fire out slowly but surely every day, and that's what Serrapeptase did. The chronic inflammation, it was also getting rid of the inflamed dead tissue and mucus. In fact, I don't know whether Mike said it this way, but he also coughed up the most horrendous gunge out of his body because, of course, it had to go somewhere. And it just expelled and got better.
He used the British word rubbish out of his lungs, yes. Rubbish. All right, well, I'm so thrilled for Mike, and he has been such an inspiration. He continues to give to other people. And if you know somebody with with cerebral palsy, go to his website. In fact, Mike, give all the listeners your website, would you please?
Okay, it's www.serrapeptaseadventure.ws. That's serrapeptaseadventure.ws.
Robert Redfern has been a health activist for many, many years, he and his wife, and now he helps us to find the absolute best in items like curcumin. And he is very well known for having found us the best curcumin, to which we give him a lot of credit and appreciate that, because a lot of our people are now using what is called curcumin or turmeric. We may get to that, but the most important thing that we want to talk about is the HealthPoint machine. I have to tell you that when he came over here, he said, I want to show you a little machine. I will come over from the UK and show you this little machine. And I'm thinking, Robert, and I said, I don't know if I ever said this to you, but I said to myself, if he wants to waste his money, that's fine with me. I mean, after all, I was an RN, and I knew if there was something that good out there, I would have known about it. But you came over here to Versailles, Missouri, didn't you?
Certainly did. I came over, and Joyce was limping up and down the stairs, and I'm just like an absolute bull at the gate when I see somebody limping. I said, Joyce, what are you limping for? And she gave me, this happened in the Gulf War, and there's really nothing can be done for it. I've tried everything. And I said, I came over to show you the HealthPoint, Joyce. Why are you talking like that? All I need to do is treat you with a HealthPoint. And she said, she didn't like to really be rude to me, because Americans are very, very well-mannered people, not like the Brits. Anyway, so I got her to sit down, and I treated her knee, and it took about 5 minutes to treat the acupuncture points. And I said to Joyce, okay, stand up. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, that's it. I said, go and walk up and down the stairs. She said, just like that. So she did. And then she just flung the door open and then started to run round the field at the front of the house with the dogs chasing her. I kid you not.
Yeah, I had not been able to play with my dogs for so long, and it was amazing to run. And it took 5 minutes, listeners, and this had been plaguing me for years. I mean, there are people that have had this problem for 30 years that I know that have used a HealthPoint machine, and the pain was gone.
So now I said to Joyce, okay, what I want you to do is just treat yourself once a day on those points. It's nice and simple, nice and clear. You've got the manual, you've got the video. I've shown you how to do it. And did she do it? No.
No.
I find out that, I think it's nearly 2 weeks later, she complains that the pain comes back. I said, well, you've been treating every day? No, I just thought to see how long it took for the pain to come back.
That's right, I did. And you know what? It will come back probably if you don't treat it enough. But that was one time, 2 weeks, one time. It was amazing. It was just, and the feeling, though, of standing up and feeling the weight lifted off of your leg. There's a heaviness when you have whatever joint problem. I don't know how to explain it, but you explained it. You said you will feel your leg felt lighter, right?
Straight away, yes. Yeah.
Straight away is right.
I mean, even a totally healthy person, if you treat one of their legs with the HealthPoint, that leg will feel strong and powerful much more than the leg you didn't treat, and they had no problem. But of course, all it's done is given a boost to that leg that you've treated. And so even a totally healthy athletic person will feel the benefit. And of course, but a person that has been weighed down with the pain and the ache for years, it's quite euphoric, actually.
It is. It is euphoric. That's all I can say is it's euphoric. Now, how does it work? What is it doing to my leg or somebody's shoulder or somebody's hip or back? Or for the headaches when it's used on the head, what is that machine doing?
Okay. The human body works electrically, chemically, or electronically, chemically. There are electrical frequencies going around the body from cell to cell, and this is going through in the interstitial fluid and through the fibers all the way through the body. And the electrical charge, wherever we have a cell which is unhealthy or out of balance, it puts a higher charge into that cell to kickstart the effect of the cells, and the cells will regenerate or will come back into balance. And everything works fine. The raw or fresh foods, while we've got lots of minerals in our body, while we're getting the proper exercise and feeling good. But as soon as something goes out of balance, and it doesn't matter whether it's an accident on our knee or whether it's Crohn's disease or whatever goes wrong, then when the body starts to become dysfunctional, then it becomes chronic if you don't fix it within 4 weeks. Along comes HealthPoint.
Within 4 weeks? I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Anything becomes chronic within 4 weeks if you don't get it under control.
We have Robert Redfern joining us from Spain. We have Mike Taz from the UK. Well, this is an international global program today. I thank you for joining us from wherever you are. And I know we've got a lot of people living outside the United States that are joining us, especially a lot of veterans that are outside the U.S. Thank you for joining and supporting the Power Hour. We're talking to Robert Redfern today because he is an expert in so many different areas that make us feel better, and he walks the walk also. If you see his picture, well, he looks 20 years younger than he is, and I can attest to that. And we've had the privilege of having him at the Power Hour several different times and hope to again soon. Robert, we're talking about this little machine that opens up the pathways of energy in the body and seems to do amazing things. So it works for humans. There's a program for horses. And what else have you heard it used on?
Going back 2,000 years, acupuncture itself, in China, in fact, they still do. They use it on their pigs and dogs and cows, all sorts, to keep things healthy. They're still quite a poor country in spite of all the jobs being given to the Chinese from the American, contributed by the American people, actually, giving up all their jobs so that the Chinese can have all this wealth.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's very nice of them, actually. Anyway, back to acupuncture. Talking about Connie from before with her macular degeneration, it's very, very surprising to hear of somebody at 24 getting macular degeneration.
Yes.
And it's usually retinitis pigmentosa, which is a very similar condition. But when she said she's got Crohn's disease, then really what she's actually got is severe malnutrition because of Crohn's disease, and of course it's affected her eyes because she's not getting the nourishment. She's not absorbing taurine and lutein to go into the eye. And so even at 67, because you know that I'm just a couple of years away from 67, so I don't really consider that an old age. Mm-hmm. The deal is that HealthPoint will help her to get her eyesight back, but she needs to go on a full program. It's in my book. You do sell my book, Turning a Blind Eye?
No, didn't know about that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we can get one if your gals want to take an order from Connie for the Maxi Focus, the taurine spray, and the HealthPoint. I'll get one mailed out directly to her for you, and as my gift.
Well, thank you.
And she needs to do the full program because she needs to eat God-made food, not man-made food. You know the story. Mm-hmm. And it's all written. In the first book of Daniel. Daniel said, all you got to do is eat vegetables and drink water, and within 12 days anybody will start to see a difference in their life. And I believe they can do, but of course HealthPoint and MaxiFocus and taurine spray, those three things are going to speed it up. she's looking for about 2 or 3 months if she gets it right. If she wants help, she can get it direct from me anytime. Hopefully she's on the internet, because everybody needs to be on the internet now. I don't care how old you are. I don't care it should be your prime thing that you have, the internet, because it's your power. You can connect with Joyce through the internet much more easily than through radios. You can connect with Joyce's new website that she's going to have coming out, which is an interactive website so that everybody can work with her to change their lives. And so, HealthPoint should get Connie's eyesight back pretty quick.
Okay, now this is... Yeah, we've had one of the listeners that actually did the HealthPoint machine, the program as you recommended, and got their sight back. She got her sight back, and she was able to see her grandchildren and was so excited about that. So it does work, and I will help you, Connie. If you call the Power Hour, we'll help you, because I know this is going to be a tremendous expense to maybe get started on the program, but it's going to be well worth it. I mean, can we put a price of a value on our eyesight? I don't think so. So call the Power Hour, Connie, and we'll try to help you get started on this with Robert. A lot of people say they can't get on the Internet because they're blind. I happen to know a man who literally runs radio stations. He computerizes radio stations, and he is blind. And he uses a computer to do it all. And I can hear his computer talking to him in the background. And I know that there are certain ways that people can get computers. So I think that's important for you to talk about that. Let's talk about this little machine, this HealthPoint machine, which I think is absolutely unbelievably miraculous. And I keep saying that. I know you don't like for me to say that because but anyway, it works so well. Other than eyesight and knees, what else have you seen work well with this?
Just about everything you can think of. Don't forget, I've been around for 20 years now. Mm-hmm. So anything from asthma to back problems, obviously. So many thousands of people with back problems, shoulder problems, people with frozen shoulder that couldn't lift their arm up totally. In one treatment, they could lift their arm over the top of the head and point to the heavens. And so many different conditions. Yeah. You might think I should have them all, but there are 160 different conditions in the book. Mm-hmm. That gives you an idea. And there's not one condition in there because it doesn't work.
Yes.
Everything works. People with, even Mike mentioned his tachycardia. Certainly you can stop tachycardia problems instantly, whether you need to deal with it from stopping drugs or getting some minerals that are deficient in your diet, such as magnesium and things. That's a different matter, but you certainly can stop the tachycardia problems instantly with HealthPoint, because there's just a couple of acupuncture points to treat. Acupuncture is so powerful. It's been so well researched over the thousands of years. Anybody that doesn't say it's researched is they're just not really with it at all. And I'm talking about people that go on TV. And who's your favorite doctor on CNN? What's his name?
Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There you go. Mm-hmm. You get morons like that, just saying that it's not really researched. The guy is absolute moron to say such a thing. There's thousands and thousands of studies. All it's doing is stimulating. Let's go back to the eyes, because I think that's one of the best examples of what it's actually doing. There's no pain in macular degeneration. It's not giving pain relief. It's stimulating the cells in the retina to start to regenerate. The cells, there's got to be some cells left that are, it's like, if you cut your finger off, it won't grow you a new finger because the cells have gone through your finger. But if you have some cells left in the retina, and you can kickstart those cells to start to regenerate faster and faster and faster every day that you treat, then, of course, eventually all the cells will grow back again and you'll be able to see again. That's what happens. You know it happens because people call in and tell you it's happened. But that's straightforward simplicity. All it's doing is like jump-starting your healing system to do the job it should have done in the first place. Change your diet, change your lifestyle, take the other things that you need to take, and life will get better.
Well, you say oftentimes that it's like acupuncture. Well, I decided to undergo acupuncture because I wanted to see the difference and see if it worked. Acupuncture works. It's amazing. And then to think, though, that we've got this little pocket acupuncture machine. I probably shouldn't call it that either. But this little pocket acupuncture machine that is just unbelievable in the manner in which it works, it just is so inspiring. But, acupuncture does work for sure.
But those people that you went for acupuncture to, they went to school for 4 years to get skilled enough. And with the HealthPoint, anybody can become a master of acupuncture in about a month or two of little bit of practice and a little bit of support. So you are as good as a good acupuncturist now treating your knee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's incredible. This book is so worth it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you an idea of some of the items. And I know we've had it used at the Power Hour for migraine. Of course, painful knees. Everybody, we impress them by showing them how their painful knees will go away. Toothache, facial neuralgia, pain in the hands, ankle pain just about anywhere, sciatica, that kind of thing, PMS, dysmenorrhea or painful periods, scoliosis, gout, facial paralysis, laryngitis, angina, mumps, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, abdominal distension, constipation, gallbladder colic. I mean, it's just hepatitis, diverticulitis. It sounds too good to be true is the problem, Robert.
But the healing system can't be too good to be true. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got where we are today. We're not weaklings, really. We are super beings, created by a creator that knew exactly what was happening. It's just us breaking the rules. We're breaking the rules. We're not eating God-made food. We're eating man-made food, junk food, other people call it. I call it man-made food because it's processed by man, and you couldn't call it God-made food. And if we break the rules, then we're going to become sick. The healing system, once we've become sick, doesn't work properly. And all HealthPoint is doing, all electronic acupressure or acupuncture is doing, is to jumpstart the healing system. You don't have to believe in the healing system. It's obvious we've got one. Otherwise, we would fall apart in no time.
Mm-hmm. And, when you go through this book and you see things like excessive perspiration or hot flashes or hiccups or itching of the skin, all of these items can be corrected by bringing us back to, being in balance. And that's what this machine does, at least to me. In my own naive way of looking at this, it brings us into balance. Now, I would give anything. I would love to have a seminar where we could have you over here and you could just run through the audience doing everybody's knees and shoulders and just watching. It'd be sort of like watching those preachers on TV, Oh, my gosh, I'm cured, because that's the way you feel.
The thing is, I've done that for 20 years, if you know what I mean. I've literally treated people on planes, on a boat, on a ship going over to Europe from the UK. People, that limping because nobody dares limp in front of me.
That's right.
They just think this crazy guy, and they think I can see the incredulity in their eyes as I'm doing it, and then absolute sheer euphoria as literally they realize I wasn't just some crazy guy, grabbing hold of their leg and treating their leg. I could tell you stories about people.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Boats and trains and planes, airports,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, everybody knows you and trusts you, and they know that what you say. But you and I will do a video one of these fine days for your listeners, actually. I think we should put together. If we can't go out on the road, I think we should at least do a video together and
yes,
and just show them some of these things so they can see it happening. We could do it over your way. We can pull some of your listeners in from Missouri and Kansas and whatever, and set it all up just so they can see. Because if you feel it's unbelievable, then you just miss the point, actually. Because what we do, I wouldn't fly over to Missouri and go there with something in my hand that didn't work, because Joyce would have thrown me out of the place.
Oh, I would have, yeah. I can't imagine this guy's bringing something over that you can hold in the palm of your hand that's going to help so many people, and I just couldn't believe it. Now, I want to go, though, to some of the listeners who are not using their HealthPoints and need to be using them, and I want to open up the phone lines to a person who has a question about the HealthPoint machine that they've already bought, because there are those of you out there that probably have the machine, set it aside, and aren't using it to its maximum. So I'd like to open up the phone lines. Now, we've only got a few minutes till the end of the hour, but we'll try to bring him back on if there's more interest in questions on the HealthPoint.
While you're waiting for those to call in, I've even got Mike with a HealthPoint. Now, he can't hold it the same and as easily, but there are ear clips that come with it which clip onto the ears, which are used for stress and anxiety, but they will also work for a lot of conditions, just because once the body starts to relax, of course, then there's a good chance that it will start to heal. But just generally stress and anxiety, you can use it, even if you can't even ever hold a HealthPoint in your hand. And to be able to get rid of all the stress and anxiety out of your life by just clipping 2 little clips and plugging into the machine is quite startling.
Oh, that is interesting. So let me bring back on Mike. Mike, so you're using the HealthPoint machine, is that correct?
Yes, I am. After Robert came to see me in October 2006 and brought one with him, the first thing he did was to treat me himself. So obviously he could treat points that I can't treat by myself. Mm-hmm. And within literally a matter of seconds, the tension went out of my spine. So I was very, very quickly aware that the thing would work for me. As I said to you earlier on, I'm pain-free more or less all the time now, but my muscles are still tight and stiff, so my movement's restricted. By using the ear clips, I'm able to at least get my major muscle groups to relax. So at least for some of the time every day, not all day, but for some time every day, I can not only be pain-free, but also get improved movement and not have to deal with the stiffness of my joints.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That would be so, we would be so thrilled to know that. Robert, is there anything, any contraindication, any reason a person should not use this? And somebody
None whatsoever. Funnily enough, I answered an email this morning from Australia about can it be used with a pacemaker, and the answer is yes. It's absolutely safe, completely safe.
Okay. What about too young? A person too young to use it?
No, except that I've told you the story before. I treated my grandchildren when they first came along and for teething and usual children's problems, and of course they wriggled and made it very difficult. So in the end I ended up just massaging with my fingertips the acupuncture points it showed in the book.
Let me get back to the questions here, because we've got 2 callers that want to ask a question on the subject of the HealthPoint machine. Pat in PA. Pat, you're on the air. Go ahead, please, with Robert Redfern.
Hi, Joyce. I have had this for a couple of years, and I've never been able to figure out how to use it. I'm going to bring it along this weekend, and hopefully someone can give me some help. But are there any tips of actually, after watching the video, reading the book, I just can't figure out what the heck I'm doing wrong.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah. I will be there, and I'll have my HealthPoint machine there, too. So we'll hopefully meet up at the meeting in West Virginia.
Oh, I'll definitely look you up anyway, even if I didn't bring it along.
Do bring it along, because that's going to be perfect. You to get an opportunity to have to meet somebody that's already using one, and then you can see exactly what they do. They can check you out. That's perfect.
Yes, and I'm just sorry that you've had it for 2 years and haven't used it. I was afraid there were people like this out there.
I'm not stupid, but I'm stupid with this thing.
Oh, no, it's just, it is different. It is different. So, that's going to be exciting. Thank you so much for the phone call, Pat. Look forward to seeing you. Larry in Connecticut, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello. I'd like to give you a testimony about the HealthPoint that I bought 7 or 8 years ago.
Please.
I had macular degeneration, and it went bad in one eye, and I went to about 5 different ophthalmologists to see if they could help me, and they all said, no, it's really something we can't reverse. Finally, I found someone in New York State that said they'd give me laser treatment, and that would prevent it from getting any worse, which it didn't, of course. It relieved my wallet a little bit, though.
Okay.
So anyway, I bought it. I heard you advertised the HealthPoint, and I talked to Dr.
Robert Redfern?
Oh, yeah, I thought he was a doctor.
Nope, he's not. He's
he's my doctor.
Yeah.
I promise I'm not a doctor, actually. In fact,
But he did say an American, never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I bought a HealthPoint machine, and I started using it. And between that and Cerezyme and curcumin, my vision improved in both eyes at least 30% with an Amster grid.
That is incredible, Robert. Isn't that exciting?
No, not good enough. You need some maxi focus as well to really, really get this finally cleared up.
Well, there was quite a bit of scar tissue from the laser treatment that I got.
I'll tell you what.
I still want better than 30% improvement.
Hey, Larry, call the Power Hour Larry in Connecticut, call the Power Hour, and we'll send you some Maxi-Focus for calling in today, okay?
Oh, very good.
All right.
I think I may still have some, but send me some more.
Use it twice
Thank
a
you
day,
very
12
much.
sprays a day, Larry, and get going with that, and email me if you know.
I don't have a computer any longer. The Chinese virus wiped out my last 2 computers.
Okay, we'll
so
call
I
the
gave
Power
it up.
Hour, and we'll try to work it out for you then, and we'll get you some Maxi-Focus. 12 drops, you said, twice a day?
12 sprays twice.
12 sprays.
12 sprays over the day, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mike Taz and Robert Redfern, for joining us today. We'll have you back again real soon because this was not enough time with both.